On the night of February 10th, when Jason Kelce was putting Wyatt to bed, he heard his daughter singing the lucky song she had written with Taylor. That voice brought Jason to tears because the lyrics told the story of a 6-year-old's love for her family. Taylor had taken Wyatt's innocent feelings and transformed them into an eternal song. That night, Jason realized that Taylor Swift wasn't just a celebrity. She was someone who knew that childhoods were precious, who took their ideas seriously, and who shared her time with them as a true family member. This songbook had changed their entire family. What I'm about to tell you in this story is much deeper and more surprising than anything you've seen in the media. In this story, nothing is as it appears. Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, 8:30 p.m. Jason Kelce was walking past 6-year-old Wyatt's bedroom when he heard the soft, sweet sound of her voice drifting through the slightly open door. She was supposed to be going to sleep, but instead, she was singing quietly to herself in the darkness. "I'm lucky, lucky, lucky me. I have a family who loves me. We play together every day and hug each other when we're sad. I have a house and food to eat and toys to play with. Oh, so neat. But the luckiest thing of all, you see, is having people who love me." Jason stopped in the hallway, his hand frozen on the doorknob he'd been about to turn. The melody was simple but beautiful, and Wyatt's 6-year-old voice carried it with pure innocence. But this wasn't just any song. It was one of the songs from the handmade leather-bound book that Taylor Swift had given her for her 6th birthday back in December. The songbook had been the surprise hit of Wyatt's birthday party. While other kids her age were thrilled with toys and gadgets, Wyatt had been absolutely mesmerized by the book Taylor had spent weeks creating. Wyatt's songs was embossed in gold letters on the brown leather cover, and inside, Taylor's neat handwriting filled page after page with lyrics, musical notes, and spaces left for Wyatt's own colorful illustrations. And Jason remembered Taylor's explanation that day. "Wyatt and I have been working on some songs together. The book contained everything from silly songs about brushing teeth to deeper ones about family love, all born from Wyatt's 6-year-old observations about the world, carefully developed into real music with Taylor's guidance." But hearing those words tonight, sung as a lullaby in the quiet darkness, hit Jason with unexpected emotional force. These weren't just cute lyrics from a children's song. These were his daughter's own thoughts about her life, her feelings about being loved and secure, preserved forever in melody. He pushed the door open quietly and stepped into the room where Wyatt was lying in bed, clutching the songbook that had become her most treasured possession. "Hey, baby girl," he said softly, settling on the edge of her bed. "That was beautiful. Is that the lucky song you and Aunt Taylor wrote?" Wyatt nodded, her eyes bright in the glow from her nightlight. "I was singing it because it makes me feel happy before I sleep. Aunt Taylor said sometimes songs can be like hugs for your heart." Jason felt something shift in his chest. "Hugs for your heart?" "Yeah," Wyatt said matter-of-factly, the way 6-year-olds explain profound truths as if they're obvious. "When I sing our songs, it feels like Aunt Taylor is here with me, even when she's not, and it reminds me of all the good things about our family. The deeper understanding." "Can you tell me what it was like writing songs with Aunt Taylor?" Jason asked, though he'd heard parts of this story before. Tonight felt different, like he was finally ready to really listen. Oh, Wyatt's face lit up with the memory. "It was the best, Daddy. She came over when Uncle Travis was at practice, and I was playing on my toy piano, making up songs like I always do. But instead of just listening and saying, 'That's nice,' like most grown-ups, she sat down with me and asked if I wanted to make them into real songs." "Real songs?" "Yeah, with melodies that sound right and words that rhyme properly and everything written down so I won't forget them. She said my ideas were real and I should never forget them." Jason felt his heart constrict. How many adults would take a 6-year-old's musical experiments seriously enough to spend hours helping her develop them into something lasting? "She listened to every single song I made up," Wyatt continued, hugging her book tighter, even the silly ones. "She said all my ideas mattered, and even the funny ones." Wyatt opened to a page that made Jason smile, despite the emotion building in his chest. "Look, this is the teeth brushing song. Aunt Taylor helped me make it bouncy, so brushing teeth would be fun." She began to hum a cheerful melody. "Brush your teeth, brush them bright, morning time and every night. Jason found himself both laughing and fighting tears. The song was genuinely catchy, the kind of thing that would make a mundane task feel like an adventure for a child. Taylor had taken Wyatt's simple desire to make teeth brushing less boring and helped her create something that actually accomplished that goal. What other songs are in there? He asked, though he knew he was in danger of getting emotional. For the next 15 minutes, Wyatt showed him page after page. Songs about rainy days that turned dreary weather into cozy adventures. Songs about stuffed animals that honored each beloved toy by name. Songs about favorite memories and daily routines. Every page showed the same care. Taylor's handwriting preserving Wyatt's observations, simple melodies making each set of lyrics memorable, and Wyatt's illustration showing she'd been actively involved in every step. Aunt Taylor said I'm a natural songwriter, Wyatt said proudly. She said if I keep writing down my ideas, I might be really good at it someday. Do you want to be a songwriter like Aunt Taylor? Jason asked. Wyatt considered this with 6-year-old seriousness. Maybe, but Aunt Taylor said the most important thing isn't what job I have when I grow up. She said the most important thing is that I know my thoughts and feelings are important enough to write down and remember. Jason felt like he couldn't breathe. Here was his 6-year-old daughter casually sharing a life lesson that many adults never learn, that their inner experiences have value and deserve expression. When did she tell you that? He managed to ask. When we were working on the Lucky song, Wyatt said, opening to that familiar page. I told her I felt really happy about our family, and she said that was a beautiful feeling that should be a song. She helped me think about all the reasons I feel lucky. As Jason tucked Wyatt into bed and turned off her light, he found himself processing something profound. For the past year and a half, he'd thought of Taylor primarily as Travis's famous girlfriend, then fiancée. And someone who came to family dinners and holidays, someone who was always polite and friendly, someone who was clearly important to his brother, but he'd still thought of her as somewhat separate from the family. A beloved addition, but still an addition. Tonight, something had shifted completely. The realization walking downstairs to find Kylie reading in the living room, Jason felt like his entire perspective had been turned upside down. Kylie, he said, settling beside her on the couch. I just had the most incredible conversation with Wyatt about her songbook. His wife looked up from her book, immediately focusing on his tone. What happened? She was singing the Lucky song like a lullaby and hearing it tonight. Jason paused, trying to find words for what he was feeling. It hit me how wrong I've been about Taylor. Wrong how? I've been thinking of her as Travis's fiancée, who's becoming part of our family. But she's not becoming part of our family, Kylie. She already is part of our family. Has been for months. Kylie smiled. What made you realize that? Listening to Wyatt talk about their songwriting sessions. The way Taylor saw a 6-year-old making up songs on a toy piano and thought, this kid's ideas are worth developing. Most adults would smile and move on, but Taylor spent hours helping Wyatt turn those ideas into something real and lasting. Jason shook his head, still processing. And it's not just Wyatt. Elliot always asks Taylor for help with homework. Bennett shows her every Lego creation. Even baby Finley reaches for her when she wants to be held. She fits, Kylie said simply. But not because she's trying to fit, but because she just belongs. Exactly, and I've been so focused on her being famous, on her being Travis's girlfriend, that I missed what was right in front of me. Wyatt doesn't see Taylor Swift the celebrity. She sees Aunt Taylor, who listens to her ideas and helps her turn them into songs. They sat in comfortable silence, both absorbing this shift in understanding. You know what's funny? Jason said finally. I think Wyatt figured this out way before we did. She's been calling her Aunt Taylor like it's the most natural thing in the world, while I was still thinking famous person at family dinner. Kids don't care about celebrity, Kylie said. They just know when someone genuinely cares about them. And Taylor genuinely cares about all of them. That songbook isn't some expensive gift meant to impress us. It's evidence of hours spent with our daughter, taking her creativity seriously, helping her understand that her thoughts and feelings matter. Jason felt something settling in his chest, a recognition that had been building for months but had finally crystallized tonight. I need to tell her, he said, that she's not auditioning to be part of this family. She already is family. The Sunday conversation that weekend, Jason got his opportunity. Travis and Taylor came over for Sunday dinner, and afterward, while the adults were cleaning up and the younger girls were playing, Jason found Taylor and Wyatt in Wyatt's room. They were bent over a new notebook that Jason hadn't seen before. Taylor completely focused on whatever Wyatt was explaining with animated 6-year-old gestures. "This one is about my favorite memories," Wyatt was saying, pointing to a page filled with her careful printing. "Aunt Taylor gave me this book so I can write new songs even when she's not here." "That's perfect," Taylor said. "Real songwriters always need somewhere to capture their ideas. You never know when inspiration will strike." Jason leaned against the doorframe, watching them work together. There was nothing performative about Taylor's attention. She was genuinely interested in what his daughter had to say, treating Wyatt's musical ideas with the same seriousness she'd probably give to professional collaborations. "Aunt Taylor," Wyatt said suddenly, "will you still help me write songs after you and Uncle Travis get married?" "Of course I will," Taylor said without hesitation. Getting married doesn't change how much I love spending time with you. If anything, it means we'll be family officially." "We're already family," Wyatt said matter-of-factly. "Getting married just means there will be a party." Taylor laughed, and Jason could see tears in her eyes. "You're absolutely right, sweetheart. We are already family." That was Jason's cue. He entered the room and settled on the floor beside them. "Taylor," he said quietly, "can I tell you something?" She looked up with a slightly curious expression. "Of course." "I owe you an apology," Jason said. "For a long time, I've been thinking about you the wrong way." Now she looked concerned. "Jason, you don't need to." "Yes, I do," he said gently. "I've been seeing you as Travis's fiancé who was working to become part of our family." But that's not right." Taylor was quiet, listening. "You're not trying to become family," Jason continued, gesturing toward the songbooks. "You already are family. You have been for months. I was just too focused on the wrong things to see it." He looked at Wyatt, who was listening with 6-year-old seriousness. "The way you see our kids, the time you invest in them, treating their ideas like they matter. That's not you auditioning for anything. That's just you being their aunt." Wyatt suddenly threw her arms around Taylor's neck. "See, Aunt Taylor? I told you we were already family." Taylor hugged Wyatt tightly, and when she looked back at Jason, there were definitely tears on her cheeks. "Thank you," she said softly. "That means everything to me." "Thank you," Jason replied, "for seeing our kids the way we see them. For being exactly the kind of aunt every kid deserves." The deeper truth. Later that evening, after Taylor and Travis had gone home and all 4 girls were in bed, Jason reflected on what had really happened over the past few months. His recognition of Taylor as family wasn't really about her changing. It was about his own perspective shifting. Taylor had been showing up as family all along. She'd been investing in relationships with his children, taking their interests seriously, creating lasting memories and traditions. She'd been doing the work of being an aunt without any official recognition or expectation of appreciation. It had taken him 18 months to notice what his 6-year-old daughter had recognized immediately. That love and belonging aren't about official titles or ceremonies. They're about showing up consistently, caring genuinely, and treating each other's happiness as important. The handmade songbook would always be special to Wyatt, but for Jason, it had become something more significant. It was evidence of the moment he stopped seeing Taylor as someone trying to earn a place in their family and started seeing her as someone who already belonged there completely. When Travis and Taylor got married in June, Jason realized he wouldn't be watching his brother marry a celebrity. He'd be watching his sister marry his brother, celebrating the legal recognition of relationships that had already become unshakably real. The Valentine's Day reflection. As Jason thought about all of this on Valentine's Day 2026, just 4 days after that bedroom conversation, he understood something profound about love and family. The most powerful relationships aren't built on grand gestures or impressive credentials. They're built on consistent, small acts of care, sitting on bedroom floors to help 6-year-olds turn their thoughts into songs, treating children's ideas as worthy of development, showing up not because you have to, but because you want to. That night, he could hear Wyatt's voice drifting from her bedroom one more time, the familiar melody of the Lucky song sung as a lullaby to help her fall asleep. He smiled, understanding now that they were all lucky, not because Taylor Swift had happened to fall in love with Travis, but because their family had been blessed with someone who understood that the most valuable gifts you can give are time, attention, and the validation that each person's inner life matters. In a world where Taylor could have given his daughter anything money could buy, she had chosen to give her something infinitely more precious: the knowledge that her thoughts and feelings were worth preserving, developing, and celebrating. That was what family did for each other. And Taylor Swift, Grammy-winning superstar, global icon, and his brother's fiancé, was also simply and completely family. The songbook sitting on Wyatt's nightstand was proof of something beautiful: that love isn't about who you are in the world, but about how you show up for the people who matter. And Taylor had been showing up as family long before any of them had the wisdom to recognize it.